Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am the Housewife Historian, and we are talking Real Housewives of New Jersey. We're going to recap last night's episode and talk a little bit about what we saw and what transpired last night, because we've been hearing about it for basically an entire year. We've been hearing about this fight at the finale and Joe and Louie and everyone fighting basically. So let's talk about last night's episode. We'll recap it. This is obviously a warning. If you have not watched last night's episode and you want it to still be a surprise, then this video is not for you. Everyone else, guys, hit the like button. It's a great way to help my channel get like the algorithm of YouTube and get out and about. And also leave your comments and let me know what you guys think. I always say that like everyone is welcome to leave comments as long as they're respectful. It doesn't matter if you're Team Teresa, Team Melissa, Team whomever. Just be respectful in your comments. Okay, let's get into last night's episode. I actually had to make notes because I felt like there was so much going on. I hope I can try to cover it and do it all justice. But there was so much going on that it almost the episode seemed cut up a little bit. I don't know if you guys felt like that. It didn't feel organic, like everything flowing together. Like at one point I thought that Jennifer and Margaret got into it and Jennifer left with Bill, but then the next scene Jennifer was back and she was talking with Teresa and then they left. So I'm not sure. Maybe production had to do some cutting. Maybe they had to do some editing. Maybe they had to edit some things out. I'm not sure, but I definitely feel like it was not a natural flow episode. Like things were definitely chunked up. And then also they included like a little bit of footage for after the finale, which took less time. Like we didn't really see this party. Like this party like went by like so fast for especially for like Real Housewives of New Jersey. It was like they got there and then all of a sudden Danielle sits down with Melissa and then all hell breaks loose and then and we're on to the next day. It's like we've literally been hearing about this party for a year. Real Housewives of New Jersey fans have. Whether you're Teresa, Melissa, Margaret, it doesn't matter. We've all been hearing about this storyline, about Laura, all of this. And like, this is the party that Bravo gives us. This is what they give us. I rewatched it because I was like, I just wanted to feel like, I don't know. It just felt like there was like a little fight here and then a little fight over here. And maybe if everyone's attention would have been on well it just seemed like nobody was really paying attention, right? It didn't seem that way. When they used to get into arguments, everyone would be quiet and they would circle around whomever the argument was about so that they could hash it out and then people would co-sign for them and then it would go from there. But it was like they're yelling over here and then there's a little bit of yelling going on over here. And I don't know if that's because the house was like 3 levels. Maybe it wasn't a great idea at their penthouse. Maybe there wasn't a whole lot of room for like crew and cameras, because I noticed like when Teresa walked away she really didn't have anywhere to walk away to. She was kind of like almost in like a little kitchen area, right? So I don't think that outside balcony area maybe was very big, and maybe they had a hard time getting like the cameraman and the crew and everyone up there fitting it. And so that way people weren't able to really like have a really big open space to kind of circle around. It's like everyone was kind of stuck where they were at almost. Maybe it was bad positioning of where Danielle picked to tell Melissa. I mean, I'm not trying to talk bad about Danielle, but everything that she decided about how she wanted to tell Melissa was absolutely wrong. Like uh, at the party, the finale, a couple of days before the wedding, like at this point, if you waited this long to tell this woman, right, then I don't know. I would have just waited for the following season, probably. But maybe Danielle felt pressure from production. Maybe Danielle felt like she needed to really bring it to the finale. But I don't necessarily believe that that's true, guys, because if you remember back, and I saved this post, I'm so thankful I did because my old Instagram account, HW Historian, was hacked, and now it's HW Historian with the number 2. So if you're on Instagram, I'm always posting good stuff. Go follow me there. But I posted a long time ago and I saved it. Thank goodness. It was a DM from somebody who was on the flight from Ireland back to the United States, and it happened to be the flight with the Real Housewives of New Jersey on it. And she wrote about how the new girl sat separate from all the other women, and the woman assumed that it was Laura because we had heard so much about Laura in this rumor. I think fans for a short period of time, a lot of us thought that Laura would be maybe part of the show or she would be a friend of. We didn't really know. There were so many new names involved. It was hard to try to correlate who was who because there was there was Rachel, there was Danielle, there was Jen Fessler, so it was a little bit confusing for viewers. But she said that the new girl like didn't talk to any of the other women, and she sat back on the plane, and I think at one point she said she was even crying. So maybe Danielle was touched by what she heard in Dublin, like maybe it did upset her. And she clearly was upset during the episodes in Dublin, but did she take it that hard? I don't know. I did notice that Margaret was like going for the jugular once she was activated. That was it. She, went at Danielle and told Danielle, obviously I can tell why your brother wants nothing to do with you, right to the jugular. And Danielle picks this timing. She sits Melissa down and tells her this, right? And Melissa does not appreciate it. Melissa does not appreciate it. She kind of maybe wanted to stick up for Danielle slightly when Danielle and Margaret were going at it, but she refrained. Because Margaret's so upset because if you notice, here's a couple of things. If you notice, whenever Melissa was sitting on the couch and Margaret made her way over and she said, I keep hearing my name. What are you saying about me? And Melissa turned around and she gave Margaret the look of like, oh, we're just talking about everything your friend Laura has been telling them. Like, bitch, all the things that you told your friend that I'm letting slide because I have to, because if I don't, then everything's gonna, go to shit because it's gonna vindicate the rumors. If Melissa got mad at Margaret for telling Laura Lee Jensen about this supposed incident, it would give validity to the rumor itself. So therefore, Melissa couldn't act mad at Margaret. But if you saw the way she looked at Margaret, she gave Margaret the look of like, this is your fault. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Margaret. Thanks, Margaret. That's what it was. Danielle also... you can't say like, I'm just the messenger of the rumor. Like, we're just the messengers of the rumors, and then like attack Margaret for being a messenger. You know what I'm saying? Like, she kind of messed that up a little bit, but we're going to let that slide because she's a new housewife. Also a thing I want to point out to you guys was when the fight transpired and Melissa was everywhere last night, really. And she was like kind of standing back and she's like, losers. Like, you guys are losers. And Teresa's like, who are you talking to? And she's like, I'm talking to you. You guys are losers. And if you guys remember the Gansevoort, when Jennifer Aiden got into it with Joe Gorga at the Gansevoort, do you remember what Melissa was saying to Jennifer? You're a fucking loser. That's what she was. I think she was like doing that in the video. She was like calling her a loser. That's like so 1995. Jennifer Aiden made me laugh so hard. She's made me laugh in a couple of episodes really hard. But when she starts going out with Margaret and she's like, she sung like a bird, Margaret. Like, she told me just the way she said it with so much soul and so much heart. I was like, yes, Jennifer, yes. Like, she was like, she sung like a bird. Like, don't think there ain't nothing Laura Lee Jensen didn't tell me, Margaret. Don't think that there's nothing I don't know about you, basically. And then, of course, Margaret goes in for the jugular. She's like, let's activate this, any PTSD or feelings she might have towards her husband's infidelity from 10 years ago. And so she's like, oh, we're just talking about his affair. Like, Who does that? That's so disrespectful. And Danielle made a great point during her confessional because she said, "Didn't you actually break up a family? Like, you're blaming Danielle for breaking up a family, but didn't you actually break up a family?" Like, and then Danielle was like, "Kiss my ass," and she like bent over. I was like, I don't know. Was that for the dramatics? Poor Nate. Poor Nate was getting yelled at Joe Gorga. Don't hold him back, Nate. Let him go, Nate. Let him go. I think Melissa got really mad when Danielle like doesn't realize what she says sometimes. And I only know this because when she went on Watch What Happens Live and she was like asked about they were like going through and asking her like something that surprised her about each of the housewives, and the thing I forget what it was, but it's one of the questions was about Rachel, and her response was, "She is breathtaking in person." Everyone's like, "Oh, so like what is she on camera then?" Like, "Oh, she's breathtaking in person." Okay. It was funny. It was cute. You could tell she just accidentally sometimes says the wrong thing. And in that moment last night when she was like kind of started to explain herself when things like calmed down a little bit, and she was like, what did she say? I heard this thing about my friend. First of all, Danielle was taking her friendship with Melissa way more serious than Melissa was taking their friendship. I'm just saying. Anyone else think that? Why? I don't know. Because we always knew that like allegedly Danielle was like coming on as sort of like a protege of like Teresa, right? Also, so Danielle says, I heard this thing about my friend and I hope it's not true. And Melissa gets pissed. And she's like, "Hope it's not true. What do you mean? Even my husband doesn't believe it." Even my husband doesn't believe it. Even Danielle said she expected Melissa to be like, "Oh my gosh, that's so ridiculous. Like, seriously. Come on now." Teresa looks amazing. The other thing I wanted to say was production picks the time that people arrive, allegedly. And so they can tell the housewives different times. They don't necessarily have to tell everyone the same time. So Margaret saying, "Oh, Teresa acted nervous, Teresa and Louie were late," is actually kind of bullshit because they would be going off the time that production gave them to arrive to the event. Maybe Louie had just been out in the sun all day. Do you know how, like, in the summertime, I don't know, he had a blazer on. Was it very hot that day? The ladies were dressed fairly, like it was summer, right? It did not look cold, but he did have a blazer on. But he could have been out in the sun all day because that's what it looked like to me. Like he'd been out in the sun all day. But then again, people were talking about like his eyes. Like, was he mad? Like Melissa did the after show and said everyone said that his eyes looked crazy, like he was on something or he was drunk, or like definitely trying to give the insinuation like that there's like party favors or something being done, maybe. And so I was like trying to like look at everyone's behavior, but of course, again, because the episode was like so jumpity, it was hard to try to um really like look at people's like mannerisms and how they were acting, because we just didn't get that much of a party by the time they filmed like and showed us like the beginning scenes of everyone like finishing getting ready and then arriving at the party, and then but the ending being additional like footage of Melissa and Dolores and the phone call and yada yada yada. We did only got like a very small portion of this party. So maybe they'll release like never before seen footage. Maybe they'll release like usually sometimes they'll do that on the app or something. So hopefully we get something like that. That's really all that we can hope for. But I did a live earlier and I talked about, sadly, Page 6 reported on the 16th that Real Housewives of New Jersey women have been giving an update by Bravo that they are, maybe not picking up filming it not until 2024. And that's leaving summer open for them. It says the ladies are beginning to plan vacations, and some of them are going to be financially worried and concerned, and other ones are happy for the hiatus. And I talked about the fact that maybe it's possible that Real Housewives of New Jersey producers are trying to weed out the different ladies. I've said before, a lot of these women live paycheck to paycheck. And some of them, like Melissa and Joe, they have 2 Bravo incomes coming into their household. So the show going on pause, that's a big deal. That's going to be a big deal on their paycheck. And guys, like I said, any housewife that gets fired or, downsizes, unless if they have like a really amazing business, like like Vicky Gundelson, her own insurance, or Bethany Frankel, she was kind of an exception because she had a clause in her contract, and it was called the Brittany or the Bethany clause afterwards, but they never let another housewife have that same clause because she ended up selling her company for millions, and Bravo any other time would have gotten a cut, but she had worked her way out of that in her contract because she wasn't shit when she started, basically. And people like Ramona who have the money, it's no worries for her. But some of the housewives, it's a big paycheck. It's a big part of their income. And Bravo has been a big part of their whole family's income for the last 13 years. So, I don't know if this is good or bad or what's going to come of this. I want to know what you guys think. Again, the Page 6 article, it said several times, the source has stated the women have been updated by Bravo. Allegedly, they were going to start filming in June, and they were set to start filming after the wedding special aired in June, and now they have deaded that, and they said go on vacation, do whatever you want, and we'll talk in 2024. Allegedly, no contract. There's nobody fired, nobody contracted either. There's just nothing, and that is probably scary for some of them because that's a big part of their paycheck. And we already know that there are some financial woes in New Jersey as it is. So again, maybe this is Bravo weeding them out. Maybe this is Bravo putting them in timeout. There could be a lot of things. Margaret, Melissa, and Dolores did an interview like 6 months ago, and they basically complained about the New Jersey schedule that they had filmed the last 6 years. Dolores made it clear she wasn't complaining, but Melissa made it clear that she was complaining. But this is not a schedule change, right? This is not just a schedule change because we don't have a date for filming, and we originally were going to be picking up filming as soon as the wedding episode aired. So what happened? Bravo fan. What do you guys think happened? That's what I want to know. But yeah, we have the finale, and then we have the wedding special, and then we have the 3-part reunion. So we still have a lot to talk about with the Real Housewives of New Jersey. We're still going to be talking about it for a while. We've been talking about it for a year, and we're probably going to be talking about it for a few more months. So again, guys, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, check out my last live. It was good. In the beginning, I was just getting set up. So fast forward to like the first 3 minutes in, probably I was finishing getting set up, and I comment that, but you may not be able to see the comments when you're watching it back. All right.